The FIA have not covered themselves in much glory in the most recent F1 season, with many fans and drivers left angry and bemused at some of the decisions being made. Everyone loves some scandal, and the FIA definitely added to the level of drama, with allegations of inside leaks and favoritism being thrown out at various points in the season. With the season now concluded, the FIA now appear to have admitted to some teams having an advantage over the other teams. Stick around to the end to find out what the FIA said and how the latest proposed rules have been likened to a Mario Kart game. The conclusion of the F1 season always calls for teams to start looking within and to see in which areas they need to improve. The same can be said of the FIA, who are now looking back into the season and seeing where they can improve. The first point of call being around possibly the biggest scandal of the season, that being of Red Bull's cost breach. Many teams called for blood after Red Bull were found of a minor breach of the cost cap. President Salem says that Red Bull's rivals still do not believe the right decision was made, with many of them calling for greater punishment. Talking about the Red Bull's punishment at motorsport.com, he said, "We learned a lot and a big review is going into it. Who knows in the first year what is going to be the outcome? We didn't even expect it. If you look at the other teams, they will say we have been light on them, Red Bull. And the penalty, some of them want them to be hanged and they want to see blood. And the guilty teams themselves see it as huge on them. So where do you draw that? I mean, we have to be fair also. Do we want to get rid of them, or we want them to be straightened up and not do it? The only thing I would say is what we did in September, October, it should be done early. But as the first year, we learned a lot from it, and we're still learning. So it is better to come in May, not in October." The FIA have now admitted that they will need more staff to help with the process to ensure it can be done earlier and better regulated to ensure we don't have the long drawn-out process we had this year. Salem added, "The financial regulation has been the first year. Policing it is very hard. And that is why we have discussed also employees, 3 more on the financial side, 3 more on the chassis and the PU. So more recruitment is coming ahead. If you don't have the manpower and the proper people to police it, what's the use of having this regulation? I believe that there was a balance between finance and also the sporting penalties there." One of the most embarrassing moments for the FIA was that of the leak of the information of Red Bull's cost breach being widely reported before they even released the results themselves. The main person to come under fire was that of Shayla Ann Rao, who many were not happy got the role at the FIA in the first place, as she was a previous employee at Mercedes and had a very good relationship with Toto Wolff. It has now been confirmed that Shayla Ann will leave the FIA, with Salem having this to say.
Vestappen's ahead, going into turn 1. Hamilton now ahead.
On behalf of everyone at the FIA, I would like to thank Shayla Ann for her invaluable contribution in her role as Interim Secretary General for Motorsport during an important transitional phase for the organization. He also squashed any rumors of her being on Mercedes' side by stating, "Actually, when the penalties were there, she said, 'It's a bit harsh,' and I said, 'My God, there is someone accusing her of being with Mercedes, and she's saying to me that it's harsh.'" With the FIA president dismissing any Mercedes bias in this statement, there does seem to be some favoritism towards some teams, with things getting interesting in the next major talking point of the season. The other major talking point in the season was that porpoising.
On the previous lap, look at that, even before he jams the brakes.
Which we are pretty sure is on the list of banned words at Mercedes. We won't go into the details of porpoising, as we are pretty sure everyone is over it by now, with many teams not happy with TD39 being introduced but agreeing it needed to be done, as driver safety is the #1 priority, and porpoising hardly being spoken about in the second half of the season. It has now since been reported by the FIA Technical Director Nicholas Tombasis that some teams got some favorable treatment, as some teams were forced to make changes having exceeded the measurement. We had a few cases where the teams had to improve after the first practice session.
Ahead into turn 1, Lewis Hamilton now ahead of Lando Norris.
Tombasis told Automotor on Sport. Interestingly, F1's technical director Pat Simmons revealed that the new rule was put forward for the start of 2022 rather than 2023, but the teams rejected it. "We were concerned that the cars would drive very low and the edges of the ground would be damaged too often. It was more a matter of saving costs. The teams rejected it because our suggestion came at too short notice," recalled Simmons. Raising the edges of the floors is expected to see the car suffer a 5 to 7% loss of downforce, according to Tombasis, which equates to each lap being around half a second longer. This should be cancelled by vehicle development, with Red Bull set to face a challenging 23 season, as the Austrian team will be forced to deal with a 10% reduction in wind tunnel time in 23, which could put them at a disadvantage in comparison to the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes over the course of the year. The loss of co-founder Dietrich Mateschitz adding to the further challenges. There were some grumblings that Red Bull may exit from F1 altogether, but Marco has now squashed that rumor. There is no need to worry that Red Bull will disappear from Formula One in the near future, said Marco when quizzed on the team's long-term prospects. We are far from finished with our mission.
Sebastian Vettel down the inside on Lando Norris. Sebastian Vettel.
We want to win more races and titles. I'm not really worried about the budget cap punishment. Red Bull will be looking to do a three-peat in the 2023 season, but it remains in the open if Red Bull will be able to achieve this, as they will effectively have one hand tied behind their backs as a result of the reduction in testing time. Mercedes and Ferrari will also be looking to make sure Red Bull do not just walk to the title as they did in this past season. On top of that, F1 are now looking at introducing a rule that is straight out of a video game, and in particular Mario Kart. Formula One will have a major overhaul of technical regulations in 2026. This includes an active aero plan, which might incorporate the idea of slowing down the leader to prevent runaway victories. Ross Brawn has claimed F1 will consider introducing a new system which would make the leader slower in races, in a move that would see the sport
Is Max Verstappen's pit stop. That's the fight.
allow the back runners to catch up to those out in front, like in some racing video games. The tool would be a form of active aerodynamics which could work as a reverse DRS to bring cars closer together. The original plan was that active aero would help the F1 cars with fuel efficiency. The teams would have been able to configure their cars in such a way that they would have a low drag on the straights but a high downforce for the corner. Effectively, this would replace DRS and allow for the chasing pack to catch the leader. However, Ross Brawn also revealed that they are looking to create a reverse DRS, as active aero can also be used to intentionally decrease the performance of the leading car so that the cars behind them can catch up.
We'll see the Ferrari trying to go down the inside.
Ross Brawn spoke with Autosport magazine about the whole plan regarding active aero and said, "One of the big things about the 2026 car is whether we have active aerodynamics. I think that's an efficiency step which is very appealing. But active aerodynamics, we semi-have them at the moment with DRS, as DRS is active aerodynamics, but can you do something much more significant? If you have active aerodynamics, then of course you could affect the car in front. You could have a proximity that, once you get within a certain degree, the car in front loses a little bit of downforce and you gain a little bit of downforce. There's tricks you can play with that. It becomes an opportunity." Let us know what you think. Do the FIA have favorites, and should F1 introduce this new rule in 2026?